Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name is Joe. We are continuing our series on 65 squad level combat in the jungles of Vietnam from Flying Pig Games, designed by Marc H. Walker. We are playing scenario number 2, and we are entering turn number 2 of 7. The main thrust of this particular scenario is the Viet Cong is trying to get up close and personal with the Army, the United States Army, to negate the impact of American air power by being, too close for actual airstrikes to come in and do them some harm. So in turn 1, the VC kind of took it on the chin a little bit. They dropped 4 units. The Americans did not lose any units in that first turn. So we will be picking this up in turn number 2. Each side is allowed to retain 1 card for the second from the previous turn. So I'm going to deal out 3 cards to each side here. And then I will look at them. And again, if you missed part 1 or the component video, I would suggest watching at least part 1 to figure out how the game works a little bit. I didn't go overboard on explaining how everything works in the game. The game rules are actually pretty straightforward. It's not an overly complicated game. Most everything comes off the cards, and if you follow along with the cards, you get a pretty good idea. I think probably the most complicated thing for new players would probably be understanding the abilities and powers. The powers are on the bottom of a counter, so the bottom center here. So this rifle squad has 2 powers. One that looks like a bullet, that's the 40 millimeter power, and the one next to it is a smoke power, so they have the ability to lay smoke. The other thing here on the left side of the counter, so right here, that is an ability, and abilities are on pretty much most, if not all of the time. The red box with the knife in it, that's an assault ability. Most of the infantry, the rifle units and so on, have that ability. That's a necessary ability to make an assault on an enemy held hex. And so you will see that a lot of the infantry has that, as well as some of the heroes. This is a hero counter right here. This is Black. He has the leadership power, and he has the assault ability plus the tactical ability. So I will kind of mention what those powers and abilities are as I use them, rather than kind of go through it right up front here, because I would like to keep things moving along. We played turn 1. It took 40-ish minutes to do that. So I would prefer to keep things kind of moving a little quickly in this turn. So the first step to starting a new turn is figuring out the initiative. Now the VC had the initiative in turn 1. They are the more aggressive party in this particular scenario. The Americans are pretty much content to sit back, let the VC come to them, and inflict casualties as they do. We will likely see some assault action in this particular turn. I did my best for the VC as far as closing with the Americans. The Americans played an action card in the first turn. That is one of the Kickstarter add-on cards, and that card was basically, it created a downpour, a rainstorm, which reduced the firing range for all the units to 3 hexes. So that kind of negated the ability of the VC to do damage from distance, and they were forced to attempt to close, which was how the Americans were able to inflict 4 casualties upon them, remove 4 units from the game. So in this turn, the Americans drew really well in terms of cards for winning initiative. You can see here this number in the bottom corner, the 10. That is the number that is referred to for initiative, for winning initiative. The Americans have 2 10s, a 9, and a 7. The VC, on the other hand, have a 1, 6, a negative, a 1, a 6, a negative 3, and a 5. So playing this as if I did not know what the other side had, obviously I do. I would say the VC, in attempting to maintain the initiative, because they do have some units that are close enough to carry out an assault, they would probably go with the light wounds to try to win, because it has a 6, and that would allow them to possibly retain initiative. So we're going to go with that for them. For the American side, every card they have is actually higher than a 6. So I think they would probably... all these cards are cards that I would actually like to have and play as the American side. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to use my fast move, which has a 10, and I'm just gonna play that, and that will be their initiative card. They win initiative. The United States has initiative. I'm going to flip this over and show that the U.S. has initiative in this turn, which means they get to go first. They only have 3 cards. At the start of each impulse, each side will draw up to 4 so that they have 4 cards in their hand. The Americans will have 3, because when you win initiative, you spend your card. It gets discarded. You don't draw a new one right away. You have 3 cards with which to start your turn. So the Americans have a fire card, which actually has a power on it. So what we are going to do with that is I am going to use the power card, the power here, I think, and I'm going to use I'm going to use it on... wow, this is a tough decision. I have lots of tactical possibilities here staring me in the face. I think the most dangerous situation is probably here, because they have quite a few units surrounding this area. So if I use a power card on, say, Dixon or Riggs actually has... he's a sniper. Some of that will be negated because all the targets in the area are actually in open terrain, and one of the nice things about a sniper's power is that it negates any cover. The Vietnamese don't actually have any cover, at least these 2, actually these 3 that he can fire at from this area. But so what I will do instead is I'm going to apply it to the rifle unit, which is in the hex with Riggs. So that therefore they have the smoke ability and the 40 millimeter ability. They're going to use the 40 millimeter ability, which basically makes it a fire. It's automatically a fire action, and it is going to add +1 to the HEF, the high explosive factor, firepower for the for that unit. So that's a 2. So that will become a 3. +2 more for the M60 makes a 5. I am not going to fire Riggs. I'm going to save him in the hopes of being able to use his fire later on. But what I am going to do is I'm going to use this bullet storm card in support to make the rifle's firepower actually 4. So we get 2 for the base, +1 for the 40 millimeter, +1 for the bullet storm is 4, +2 more for the M60 is 6. We are going to fire at this rifle unit right here in the adjacent hex, so they get another 1 there to make it a 7 because it's adjacent. And they have no cover, so they're going to be drawing 7 cards here as the Americans for this fire. So this should probably destroy this unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we flip the first card. We're looking for green hits in this box. We don't get one. That's a miss. Second card is a green hit, so that's a hit. First hit shakes the unit, so it gets a shaken marker. We get another green hit. That is a reduction, so now it is shaken and reduced. Third card is a yellow hit, which is a miss. Fourth card, fifth card, I guess. That's another yellow hit, another miss. One more hit will kill this unit. A red hit, also a miss, and the last one is the green hit that will remove this unit. So this unit is dead. That is the 5th casualty for the VC. Now, what I did in the first turn is I neglected to check to see if there were any end turns in here, and there were not. So now we place a fired marker on our M60 and our rifle squad here. Mr. Riggs has not fired. He is still available for the next turn. So now we have the VC's first turn. They have 4 cards, so they don't need to draw one. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to try to do an assault. So we have Fawn and the rifle squad here in hex D6 on map 3. The map's got a little discombobulated here. So we will play a move card here with power, but we don't really need the power because, well, actually, we are going to use the power. We're going to use the power. Yeah, we're going to use the power for the charge, but it's going to add 2 to the side's total HEF for the assault. So both units here have the assault marker, but the rifle unit is the one that has the charge power. So that's the one that this is going to apply to. So they are going to charge here. Fawn also has the tactical ability, and that gives them the ability to redraw a card during ranged or assault combat. So if we draw a bad card for the VC in this combat, Fawn has the ability to draw a second card. And so the Americans have a firepower of 3, and the VC have a firepower of 4, actually, because the rifle gets a +2. We have 4 for the VC and 3 for the Americans. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the VC. Now this is considered to be simultaneous. So I will just do the Americans first as the defenders. So their first one is a hit. So hits in assault are green and red. So we got a second hit and a miss. So the Americans inflicted 2 hits. And we'll see what the VC get. That's a hit, green, nothing. Second hit, green, and a yellow. So both sides got 2 hits. So this is going to end up being essentially a tie, which will force the attackers to retreat back to their original hex. So we're going to get some shakens out here. And Dixon will be shaken, and the rifle squad also shaken. And then Fawn and the rifle squad also get shaken markers. When you have a tie, the attacker retreats. So both these hexes are now shaken, and they're both also ops complete. So neither side now in these 2 can do anything else. That ends the assault there. We didn't draw any end turn cards. Just checking because I forgot to do that the last time. So now we move on to the American turn. They get to draw 3 cards. And we get our first end turn card. End turn card number 1 of 4. So that's out. We get to draw another card to replace it. I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass because I don't really have anything I want to do. I don't want to move. Everything else is kind of support and reaction or actions that I can't really take advantage of. So the Americans pass, and now the Vietnamese will go. I almost said Japanese. So they drew a card here, and they actually get, we have a sneak card here that we could use. So sneak card says move 1 hex if destination hex has combat factor greater than or equal to 1. No op fire allowed if enemy occupied ambush. So we are going to use this, and we are going to ambush We're going to take these two guys and we are going to attack here, and it's an ambush. And what that does is that allows the attacker to resolve their hits before the defender does, which is big in an assault situation. So looking at this, we have a 1 and a 2, so that's 3. We didn't use a power. The rifle squad will be the one initiating the assault. The RPD's along for the ride. It only defends with a firepower of 1. Same is true for the M60. It defends with a 1 because it doesn't have an assault ability. The rifle squad is a 2. So but because it's an ambush, the rifle squad and the RPD with its 1 get that's a 2, and the Americans will also have 2, but their 2 will only take effect after we apply the effects of the Vietnamese. So we'll do Vietnamese, American, Vietnamese, American. So we'll look at the Vietnamese first, and again, green or red is a hit. So that's a red hit, so we shake the rifle squad. And then the second card is a miss. Okay, so that actually was a success for the Vietnamese because they shake the rifle squad so it can't fire. So actually they should only get 1 card here for the M60. We flip it. It's a green hit, so that does apply a shaken to the rifle squad for the Vietnamese. So again, it's a tie. They have to retreat out. And we end up with ops complete for both of these. And we put these out, and we move on to our next impulse. This is the American impulse. They already have 4 cards from the previous turn. Man, I guess I'm gonna discard a card because there's nothing I can do here. I'm going to discard this card, and I'm going to end my impulse again, and then we'll go back to the VC. We're going to use this artillery card here. So attacks the target square and 2 adjacent, 3 armored APFs. That's a hard target, which we do not have. Those hits would shake. 3 HEF versus soft target. No support except heavy artillery. So you can't apply any support to it. Okay. So we're gonna hit these 2 with artillery. So you get 3 hexes, but there's only 2. So we'll just use these 2. So each one gets hit with 3 HEF. So we draw 3. 1, 2, 3 for this hex, and we'll play them. Artillery hits on a green, so we have 3. So we'll hit this one first. So if it's a green hit, it's a hit. Yeah, is that green? That's yellow. That's a miss. That's a miss. That's a hit. So we get we already have a shaken, so they get a shaken on the other unit, because all units must be shaken before they can take a hit. So that's the first hex. Now we draw 3 for the second hex. This one. And we flip. We get a green hit. Hits are applied first to the that unit, the regular unit, not the hero. And again, only 1 hit. So that was successful in that it had shaken to 2 of the American units. So now the Americans draw 1. Well, I'm going to play rally. I'm going to rally. Going to rally this rifle unit and mark him ops complete. That ends that turn. We go back, or impulse rather, we go back to the Vietnamese. Let's use fast move. Okay. So fast move, and we're going to use, well, we're going to use this one right here. We'll use the rifle and sappers. With the fast move, they're going to assault this. You know what? They're going to assault this hex. That's already been. Actually, that you can assault the same hex twice in a turn. I do remember that. So they will assault this hex right here. Okay, so we have they both have the assault. The sappers have the assault plus ability. Okay, so assault plus adds 1 to the HEF of the sappers, who already have a 2, so that becomes a 3. Plus 1 for the rifle is 4. So they have 4. Black has 1, but he has the ability to, the tactical ability, so he can re-roll. All right, so it's a 4 against 3. So we draw 1, 2, 3, 4 for them, and 3 for the Americans. So, that's a green hit. So we get a shaken on our rifle unit. Oh, you're not supposed to apply until the end. So they have 1 hit so far. They have 2 hits. And they have 3 hits. So 3 hits. And then the Americans miss. Miss, hit. Black will use his leadership, or his tactical rather, to draw another card. So they'll get 2 hits. 2 hits on them, 3 hits on the Americans. So that's going to end up being kind of bad for the Americans. So we get a shaken on Black and a shaken and reduced on the rifle squad. And then we get a shaken on both the sappers and the rifle. We're getting a lot of ops complete here. Now we move on to the next impulse, which is the American impulse. They draw 1. All right. Well, we do have fire, and I have rigs. I'm going to use my power for rigs here to fire at this RPD. So he's going to apply his bullseye power. I believe that's what it's called. Oh, kill shot. I'm sorry. Looks like a bullseye, but it's called kill shot. All right, so he's going to apply his kill shot ability on this RPD unit. So what the kill shot does, you fire the unit and you add 1 to its HEF. So he has a 1, so that becomes a 2. The RPD is adjacent, so it becomes a 3. It's in clear terrain, so no modifiers. So Riggs is going to draw 3 cards. 2, 3. First one's a miss. Second one's a hit. Third one's a hit. So that would shake him and reduce him. And we put a fired marker on Riggs. All right, so that will end the U.S. impulse. We drew our second end turn card there. And now we draw 1 for the Vietnamese. They have 2 moves and fires now. Well, we will use our move and fire, I think, on this unit up here, which has a movement of 3. So that rounds up to a 2. So he can move, or he can go right into assault. So he's going to go 1, 2. Actually, on move and fire, you can't do an assault. So he's going to move here, and he's going to fire at our rifle unit. He can't really do that either. Well, All right, he's just going to move there, and then next turn, he's in position to do an assault. We'll just do that there. He can't fire at him because he won't be able to hit him. Because his fire factor is a 1, and the rifle unit is in the jungle, which gives a cover of 1, so that's a 0, and that will not work. All right, so back to the Americans. A third end turn. And we draw again. All right, critical hit, so that's a support. Unfortunately, I don't really have anything I can play. I'm going to discard my sudden downpour. I don't need that this time. I'm going to discard it and end my impulse. The Viet Cong will draw. They got another bloodlust. Rally eligible unit, but we will use this for reconstitute. So we're going to play this, and we're going to reconstitute this unit, which took a shot last turn, and pop it back up, and it does not get ops complete. So that was a good one to have. All right, Americans. This is another add-on thing here, which is punji stakes for the VC and Claymore for the US. So we will hold on to that one. And actually, I can use my reload and fire. So I'm going to use my reload and fire on Riggs. And what I will do is, after this, he gets an ops complete. But in the meantime, he gets to fire again at this RPD here with his 1. Plus adjacent, so he draws 2 cards. First one is a hit, so that's going to kill this unit. And that's another unit removed out of the game. We'll throw that out. Okay, now the VC draw a card. It's not the 4th end turn card, but that's got to be coming because we're almost at the end of the deck here. So they have Bloodlust. They have Move and Fire. Maybe I'll do Move and Fire with this stack right here. So they can move 2, 1, 2, and attack here. So they're going to do that. They're going to play their Move and Fire. They only hit on a red on Move and Fire. Red and yellow. Yellow and red will be hits here. Okay, so the Americans are in the kunai grass, so that is a fire cover factor of 1. Okay, so they're going to subtract 1. So they get 1 for Wen, 1 for the rifle, and 2 for the... So that's 3 total. Wen also has the inspirational, which doesn't really apply, and he also has Pathfinder, which really wouldn't apply here either. Both of these other units have assault, and they have the charge power. So it's 3 minus 1 is 2, so we're going to draw 2. First one is a hit, so that's a shaken. Second one is also a hit, so it's a reduction and a shaken. So that was effective. So the turn should be over because apparently I missed an end turn card. Because I only have 3 here, and I obviously missed one. I'm going to end the turn because I screwed up. I am bad at this, noticing these cards. It's got to be in here. I noticed a couple of them, but I missed. There it is. All right, so the turn should have been over a couple impulses ago. My bad. We are at the end of turn number 2 here, and what I'm going to do now is do our end of turn movement. So that allows the either side to move units they wish to move. I'm going to move my rifle unit. Actually, no, I'm going to leave them there, but I'm going to move these guys up. So they have They can each move, I believe, 2. So we'll go 1, 2, or should I go 1, 2? We'll go 1, 2, and we'll go here. Okay, so now I'm going to go through the rest of it. Each side gets to keep 1 card. I'm going to keep, I'll keep my Claymore for the Americans, and I will keep my Bloodlust. So we're looking at probably 4 or 5 more parts of this, only because I just want to show the game. This is a very good game. It flows very quickly and very easily. Obviously, I'm kind of describing things, and you hear me blundering and umming and sewing and thinking and things like that. Just trying to kind of figure out the best tactical move for each stage as I'm going through the game. Playing this against another person would be ideal. I don't particularly have somebody I can play it against right now handy, but this game, I really like this game. It's very, very straightforward, and not overly complicated. The cards, the powers, the abilities, they add a lot of flavor. The units feel different. They have different abilities, and I haven't even touched on vehicles and helicopters yet. So that's another thing I want to add in, and maybe if I can find a scenario where I can combine the helicopters and vehicles with the city or with the U.S. Marine Corps ANZAC add-on, one or the other, I will do that. There may even be a solitaire mission that includes the vehicles and helicopters, because I would like to show how those work inside the game as well. So for now, I will sign off. This has been the end of the second part of my video series on 65 squad level combat in the jungles of Vietnam. This is Hexed Encountered. My name is Joe. Thanks as always for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate the support. And until next time, happy gaming.